Let's get right into it. Number 8. Tasting colors and hearing shapes. Imagine biting into an apple and suddenly seeing a burst of blue light in your mind, or hearing a car horn and instantly tasting chocolate. This unusual phenomenon is known as synesthesia, a mysterious condition where the senses become unexpectedly linked. Experts still don't fully understand how or why it happens. One theory suggests that the brain's wiring might have developed in a unique way. It affects roughly 2 to 4% of the population. And these sensory combinations aren't random. For instance, if someone with synesthesia always sees the number 7 as blue, it will remain blue for them, no matter when or how often they see it. This has been confirmed through studies. Synesthetes report the same experience consistently, even months apart. For some, flavors have shapes. A bite of food might feel like tasting a triangle. Others may see colors when reading certain letters or numbers. Researchers believe this could stem from extra neural connections that usually get trimmed during brain development. In synesthetes, those connections remain, like unfinished code in the brain's operating system. Some scientists believe we're all born with this kind of connectivity, but most people lose it over time. There's also evidence it might run in families, suggesting a genetic link. Still, much remains a mystery. Why do only certain senses blend? And why do these unusual crossovers happen in the first place? Number 7. The tickle torture response. Picture yourself tied to a chair as someone lightly traces your ribs with their fingers. Suddenly, you burst into laughter you can't control. Even if you're terrified or uncomfortable, your body responds with giggles. Scientists haven't completely figured out why tickling triggers this kind of involuntary reaction. They do know it begins with hypersensitive nerve endings sending messages to the brain, but the reason why this touch leads to laughter remains a puzzle. One idea is that it's a primal survival tool. The faint, crawling sensation resembles insects or parasites moving across the skin. Our ancient ancestors may have developed this reaction as a way to stay alert and fend off tiny threats. The jerky, spasmodic movements from being tickled could have helped shake off bugs in prehistoric times. But that still doesn't explain why the reaction involves laughter rather than just a quick defensive motion. And interestingly, you can't tickle yourself. That's because your brain anticipates your own touch and cancels the response. Tickling lives in a strange emotional space between enjoyment and alarm. Your nervous system isn't sure whether it's a game or an attack. Both the pleasure and pain centers of the brain light up during tickling. This dual activation helps explain why it has been used historically as a method of torture. Even lab rats react with laughter when tickled. Researchers have detected their tiny squeals with specialized microphones. Just like us, rats don't respond the same way when they try to tickle themselves. It only works when someone else does it. And yet, we still don't fully understand why certain areas are more ticklish than others. Number 6. The contagious mouth stretch. Have you ever noticed how one person's yawn can set off a chain reaction in a room? It spreads almost like a ripple through water. Researchers still don't have a definitive answer for why this happens. And it's not just a human trait. Animals like dogs, birds, and even some reptiles also catch yawns from others. Interestingly, you're more likely to mimic a yawn from someone familiar rather than a total stranger. It's as if your brain gives priority to yawns from people it recognizes. One idea is that yawning helps regulate brain temperature. In that sense, yawning could work like a quick brain cooldown. Still, that doesn't quite explain why it spreads so easily between individuals. Another theory links contagious yawning to survival instincts. Think back to early human communities. If one person yawned, it might prompt the whole group to do the same, helping everyone stay alert and ready, like a primitive form of a group energy boost. Some researchers believe it has to do with empathy and our ability to connect socially, possibly through something called mirror neurons. For a long time, people thought yawning was about getting extra oxygen, but that idea has been debunked. Fascinatingly, young children don't start catching yawns until around the age of 4, suggesting a developmental connection. And simply watching someone yawn, whether in person or in a video, is often enough to trigger one yourself. In fact, if you've made it this far, chances are you're already yawning just from reading about it. Number 5. When words hide in your brain. There are times when a word feels so close you know it's there, hovering just out of reach. This is known as the tip of the tongue experience. Your brain recognizes the concept, the meaning is clear, and sometimes you even recall the first letter or how the word sounds. Yet, the exact term slips away, hiding like a lost TV remote. This curious mental hiccup happens in all languages and across cultures. Even people who communicate using sign language report similar moments. Researchers have proposed 2 main explanations. One idea is that the word is stored correctly, but the signal to retrieve it isn't strong enough. Another theory is that the brain is trying to reconstruct the word from partial clues, like trying to finish a puzzle when some pieces are missing. Interestingly, this becomes more frequent with age. Brain imaging shows that certain regions become active during these moments of mental searching. Still, no one knows for sure what causes the disconnect. And often, the answer arrives long after you've stopped trying, like randomly shouting out Chris Pratt while scrubbing the dishes hours later. Number 4. The runner's annoying stab. You're out on a run, everything feels smooth, until a sudden sharp pain strikes your side like a knife. This unpleasant sensation is known as a side stitch, and it's been disrupting exercise routines for generations. Even historical writers like Shakespeare mentioned this stabbing discomfort, yet scientists and doctors still don't agree on exactly what causes it. One popular idea is that as you move, your stomach and liver bounce around and tug on tiny ligaments that connect to the diaphragm. That pulling motion may trigger pain signals. Another theory suggests your diaphragm itself might cramp due to reduced blood flow during physical exertion. There's also the notion that your internal organs just don't enjoy being tossed around so much. And don't assume it's something only new runners deal with, even elite athletes aren't immune. Roughly 7 out of 10 runners say they felt this kind of pain at least once in a given year. It's not just limited to runners either. People who ride horses can experience it too. Bouncing in the saddle can trigger similar discomfort, and if you've had a sweet drink before heading out, that might just make it worse. Number 3. The musical skin tingle puzzle. Had you ever felt a sudden wave of tingles down your spine while listening to a powerful piece of music, or noticed goosebumps spreading across your skin during that perfect moment in a song? This reaction is known as frisson, a mysterious physical response that researchers are still trying to fully understand. Interestingly, only about half the population can experience it. If you're one of them, your brain may actually be wired differently. Brain imaging studies have shown that people who feel frisson tend to have stronger connections between the parts of the brain responsible for processing sound and those that handle emotion. In a way, it's like their brains come with a built-in, high-end audio emotion system. And it's not limited to music. These tingling sensations can also be triggered by breathtaking sunsets, emotional film moments, or deeply moving pieces of art. We know that the brain releases dopamine, a chemical linked to pleasure when frisson happens. But what we still don't fully understand is why this emotional reaction causes a physical shiver. Some scientists suggest that this response may have once helped humans bond during ancient rituals, syncing the group through shared goosebumps. Others propose that it's a leftover survival reflex now repurposed to react to beauty instead of danger. Despite years of research, many questions remain. Why do some people's brains produce these chills and others don't? And why does an emotional high cause our body hair to stand on end? Number 2. Placebo power. Imagine taking a completely fake pill for a headache and the pain actually disappears. That's the power of the placebo effect. Even though the pill has no real medicine, your brain doesn't seem to notice. Instead, it begins to release natural pain-relieving chemicals, simply because you believe it should. Brain scans have shown this in action. Areas involved in pain relief become active when someone takes a placebo for discomfort. It's as if your brain becomes its own pharmacist, releasing endorphins, your body's built-in painkillers, based purely on belief. And here's the wild part. Even when people know the pill isn't real, they can still feel better. Sometimes, just the familiar act of swallowing a pill is enough to trigger your brain's self-healing mode. One study gave migraine patients sugar pills but told them it was real medication. Surprisingly, about half reported real relief just from the idea of being treated. Placebos don't only work for pain. They've been shown to improve symptoms of nausea, insomnia, and even depression. But there's a flip side to this coin. If you believe something will harm you, your brain can actually make you feel worse. This is known as the nocebo effect, the darker counterpart to the placebo. Your mind can produce genuine pain or sickness just from negative expectations. Although researchers have documented these effects, they still don't fully understand how thoughts alone can trigger such real, physical responses. Each of us carries a hidden pharmacy in our minds. We just haven't figured out how to fully unlock it. Number 1. Brain tingles from ASMR sounds. Picture yourself watching a video where someone softly whispers or gently taps their nails, and suddenly your scalp begins to tingle. It's not a sharp or painful sensation. It feels more like tiny bubbles fizzing on your skin, starting from the top of your head and slowly traveling down your neck and spine. This is what's known as ASMR, short for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. These pleasant tingles are usually triggered by very specific sounds: whispering, slow tapping, the rustle of paper, or even the soft flipping of book pages. For some, watching simple actions like towel folding or makeup roleplay videos can bring on that signature shiver. Interestingly, not everyone feels it. You could have 2 people watch the exact same video of someone gently tapping on a wooden surface. One might feel deeply relaxed, the other nothing at all. Scientists believe the brain might be interpreting certain soft sounds as if they're gentle touches. It's almost as if audio is being processed as a soothing caress, like your brain is getting a massage through sound. Some theories suggest ASMR taps into comforting childhood memories, like the calm of having your hair brushed or hearing someone speak to you in a quiet, nurturing voice. In that moment, your brain may recreate that sense of safety and care. Physiologically, the effects are measurable. ASMR can reduce heart rate, induce deep relaxation, and release mood-boosting chemicals like dopamine. It's like giving your brain a mini spa session just from listening to someone describe what's on their grocery list. Still, despite growing research, we don't fully understand why these sounds produce physical reactions or why only certain people seem to experience them. It's almost like some brains have a hidden switch that only certain soft sounds can flip. That's all for now. If you enjoyed this, stick around. More videos exploring this topic are on the way.